textiles. We all buy them, we all use them, we all wear them, and we all throw them away. But what you might not be aware of is just how many textiles we use. So, let's refresh. A textile is any material made of interlacing fabric. This includes clothing, upholstery, rugs, bedding, towels, pillows, curtains, and even the interior of your car. Although textile manufacturing can be done sustainably, the current process is one riddled with environmental processes that are slowly killing our planet. The fashion industry alone uses 90 billion cubic meters of water annually. That's enough water to meet the needs of over 5 million people. As of 2021, 40% of the global population did not have access to sufficient clean water, and according to UN Water, by 2025, 1.8 billion people will be living in regions with absolute water scarcity. And after all of the damage that occurs during the textile manufacturing process to both people and planet, most of our textiles end their lives as garbage. A rise in consumption and production has led to a dramatic increase in textile waste around the world. North Americans alone send over 10 million tons of clothing to landfills every year. We live in the era of fast fashion where, to meet consumers' high demand for the latest fashion trends, retailers have begun producing clothing that is coming to us cheaper, faster, and sooner than ever before. Clothing production doubled worldwide between 2000 and 2014, with consumers purchasing 60% more textile products and keeping them for only half the amount of time. However, this phenomenon isn't entirely our fault. Fast fashion is fueled by buyer's choice, which is why the fashion industry spends so much time and money attempting to influence our purchasing decisions. But retailers are guilty of more than just encouraging us to spend more, buy more, and consume more. In fact, around 58% of all non-hazardous waste in Canada comes from the non-residential sector, a staggering 14,884,782 tons of it. Where is it coming from? How are retailers generating so much waste? Well, did you ever wonder what happens to all the merchandise that stores didn't sell? It ends up here. Remember, these are not used or damaged items. These are items that are brand new, have never been used before, and are being incinerated or sent to a landfill simply because the company had excess inventory and did not want to pay for other options such as reusing or recycling. And did you know that the Canadian government not only supports, but encourages textile companies to destroy these unsold and unused items? No. We didn't either. But we're going to tell you. Here's what happens. Most textiles sold in Canada are imported goods. Clothing sits on top of the list with a 95% import rate. When merchandise is brought into Canada, companies must pay taxes in the form of duties. The import duty for clothing and shoes is between 17 to 19%, significantly higher compared to other sectors. This is for a reason. Because the rates are so high, importing ends up costing retailers a significant chunk of change. And because companies are paying so much in duties and fees, they look for ways to recuperate this loss. Thankfully, the Canadian legislation gives companies the opportunity to receive a tax refund. This is called a duty drawback. Canada's duty drawback program means that when retailers have surplus or unsold items left over in their inventory, if they meet just 4 requirements, they can earn back the import tax. Here are the 4 requirements. 1. The goods must be found to be obsolete or surplus. 2. The goods cannot have been used in Canada. 3. The goods must be destroyed. And 4. The goods cannot be damaged prior to destruction. Sounds easy enough, no? Given the 4 requirements of the duty drawback program, companies have 3 options. 1. Donate. However, due to Canadian legislation, Once clothing is donated, it is considered used. Therefore, companies would no longer be eligible for the drawback program, so most companies don't choose this option. 2. Export. If companies choose to export the clothing, they would meet all criteria. However, they would then have to incur additional shipping costs, so most companies don't choose this option either. And 3. Destroy. This last option meets all 4 requirements, so companies can receive the duty drawback with little to no additional costs incurred, making destroying brand new clothing the easiest and cheapest option, and therefore the most attractive option for fiscally minded companies. If you were wondering just how active the duty drawback program is, don't worry, we'll tell you. In 2018, the Canada Border Services Agency refunded over $8 million to retailers through the duty drawback program. But the question is why? Why is our government encouraging companies to send brand new, unused textiles into landfills? Memorandum D723 states that the purpose of the regulation is to assist the Canadian industry in competing internationally by reducing exportation costs on valueless goods that will not enter the domestic market. Yep. According to the Canadian government, these brand new, never-used textiles are valueless. Canada currently has over 10,000 landfill sites, and even then, we still export the majority of our waste. The province of Ontario only has enough landfill capacity for the next 16 years, and considering that Canadians produce more garbage per capita than any other country on Earth, it is likely our landfills will reach their quota soon. The most pressing environmental concern regarding landfills is the release of greenhouse gases. As textiles decompose, they release a toxin known as methane. Methane gas is 84 times more effective at absorbing the sun's heat than carbon dioxide, making it one of the most potent greenhouse gases on Earth, and a huge contributor to climate change. In fact, 84% of all clothing ends up in landfills where it takes over 200 years to decompose, all the while leaching toxic chemicals and dyes into the groundwater and soil, and methane gas into the air, polluting our natural world and the beings who dwell on it. So, what is the solution? Although doing our part as consumers is important, ultimately, the impact we have on the environment is minimal. For instance, residential trash accounts for less than 5% of the total amount of waste produced in Canada. So, what can we do? If you are concerned about the issue of textile waste or have other concerns related to the environment or sustainability, consider sending a petition. The Canadian Environmental Petition process was created as a way for Canadian residents to bring their concerns about environmental and sustainable development issues to the attention of the federal government and obtain a formal response. Unlike other public petitions, environmental petitions do not need to contain multiple signatures. It can be a simple letter. Once a petition is received and accepted, it is forwarded to the appropriate ministers where they must respond within 120 days. The Commissioner reports annually to Parliament, and each report contains a chapter on environmental petitions. These chapters report on the number, nature, and status of petitions received that year, in addition to departmental compliance with statutory timelines in the previous year. Petitions are an effective way of amplifying the voices of Canadian residents by providing a platform to directly communicate with and voice our environmental concerns to those who hold the decision-making power within the political sphere. Eco-Justice, Canada's largest environmental law charity, does just this. By signing their online petitions, Eco-Justice supporters have helped advance important causes that protect nature, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and defend Canadians' rights to clean air, safe water, and a healthy planet. Recently, they pushed the federal government to table, strengthen and pass the Canadian Net Zero Emissions Accountability Act into law, which holds both the present as well as the future governments accountable to achieving net zero emissions by 2050. However, despite their effectiveness in policy making, did you know that only 14 petitions were received between 2020 and 2021? Today, let's change that together. To learn more about the process of writing and sending petitions, click here.